guys, this is Anatomy Kid. We're going to be doing the second chapter of my book, Human Organs, Functions, and Structure. This is the second chapter, so if you missed the first chapter, go and watch that. That was the first chapter talking about the head and all the organs and the structures holding that in place. I'm going to go right on to the second chapter. Organs of the human thorax, structure, function, and support. An overview from top to bottom. Introduction. The thorax, commonly known as the chest, is a central region of the body containing some of the most vital organs essential for breathing, circulation, and protection. This document provides a comprehensive overview of all the major organs located in the thorax, their functions, and the structures that hold them in place. This discussion begins at the top of the thorax and proceeds downward, concluding with a detailed look at the inside of the heart and its operation. Number 1. The thoracic inlet and apex. At the very top of the thorax is the thoracic inlet, an opening bordered by the first rib, the upper part of the sternum, mandiburum. I don't know how to really pronounce that word. The upper part of the sternum, and the first thoracic vertebrae. This is where several important structures enter the chest, including major blood vessels, the trachea or windpipe, and the esophagus. The apex of the lungs also extends slightly above the first rib into the lower neck. Number 2, the trachea. The trachea or windpipe is a tube that carries air from the larynx. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm just going to skip over that. It carries air from the voice box down to the lungs. It is supported by C-shaped rings of cartilage, which keeps it open and prevent collapse during breathing. The trachea divides into two main bronchi, I think. Right here. Bronchi. One for each lung at the level of the sternal angle, roughly the middle of the chest. Number 3, the esophagus. Located just behind the trachea, the esophagus is a muscular tube that transports food and liquids from the throat to the stomach. It passes through the thoracic cavity, descending behind the heart and lungs before entering the abdomen through the diaphragm, which is chapter 3, is the abdomen. Number 4, the lungs. The lungs are two large spongy organs responsible for gas exchange, taking in oxygen, and removing carbon dioxide. The right lung is divided into 3 lobes, while the left lung has 2 lobes to make room for the heart. Each lung is surrounded by a double-layered membrane called pleura. I don't know how to pronounce that one either. Each lung is surrounded by a double-layered membrane called which reduces friction during breathing and helps hold the lungs in place by adhering to the inner chest wall. Number 5, the heart. Located centrally but slightly to the left, the heart is a muscular organ that pumps blood throughout the body. It sits within the I don't know how to pronounce that one either. I'm not even going to try. That was just too hard. That sits within the central compartment of the thorax and is enclosed by a protective sac called the pericardium. The heart is roughly the size of a fist and rests on the diaphragm, with its base at the top and the pointed apex directed downward and to the left. The thymus gland. Just above the heart and behind the sternum lays the thymus gland, which is most prominent in children and shrinks in adulthood. The thymus plays a vital role in development of the immune system by helping to mature T lymphocytes. I think that's how you say it. Right here. T lymphocytes, I think that's it. A type of red blood cell. Number 7, the major blood vessels. Several large blood vessels pass through the thorax. The aorta, the body's main artery, carries oxygen-rich blood from the heart. Carries oxygen-rich blood from the heart to the rest of the body. The superior and inferior vena cava bring oxygen poor blood back to the heart. The pulmonary arteries and veins carry blood between the heart and lungs for oxygenation. Number 8, the diaphragm. At the bottom of the thorax, the diaphragm is a large, dome-shaped muscle that separates the thoracic and the abdominal cavities. It plays a critical role in breathing by contracting and relaxing to change the pressure within the chest, drawing air into the lungs. Number 9, structures supporting and holding organs in place. The organs of the thorax are held in place and protected by several key structures. Rib cage. The ribs, sternum, and thoracic vertebrae form a bony cage that protects the heart and lungs from physical injury. That was that one I couldn't pronounce right here. Pleura. The double-layered pleural membranes not only reduce friction, but help anchor the lungs to the chest wall. This is the other one I couldn't pronounce. Pericardium. The heart is enclosed in a tough, double-layered sac that stabilizes its position and prevents executive movement. Ligaments and connective tissue. Various ligaments and connective tissues helps secure the esophagus, trachea, and blood vessels in their proper positions. Diaphragm. This muscle forms the base of the thoracic cavity and supports the lower parts of the lungs and heart. Inside the heart, chambers and valves. The heart's interior is divided into 4 chambers, 2 upper chambers called the arteria, and 2 lower chambers called ventricles. Right atrium. Receives oxygen, poor blood, from the body. Right ventricle. Pumps this blood into the lungs for oxygenation. Left atrium. Receives oxygen, rich blood from the lungs. Left ventricle. Pumps the oxygen-rich blood into the rest of the body. Between these chambers are valves that ensure blood flows in the right direction and prevent backflow. Tricuspid valve. Between the right atrium and right ventricle, pulmonary valve. Between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery. Mitral. Bicuspid. I don't know how to pronounce that valve. Between the left atrium and the right and left ventricle. Aortic valve. Between the left ventricle and aorta. That's kind of hard to say, I don't know. So there's that, and then the aorta, or whatever. The heart muscle contracts in a coordinated sequence, first squeezing the arteria to fill the ventricles. Then the ventricles send the blood to the lungs and the rest of the body. This continuous pumping action delivers oxygen and nutrients throughout the body and removes waste production. Conclusion. The thorax houses and protects some of the body's most crucial organs, including the heart, lungs, and major blood vessels. Each organ has a specialized function and is supported by a complex system of bones, muscles, membranes, and connective tissues. Understanding the anatomy and mechanics of the thoracic organs reveals the remarkable coordination required for breathing, circulation, and overall health. That's it for Chapter 2. Tune in a little bit to see Chapter 3, which is the last chapter, which is the abdomen, which has been mentioned in the book a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed. Bye.